Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And today it's a results roundup, so thank you for joining me once again. 5 fight results to cover. The first couple, we do have some highlights we will be playing. So thankfully these boxers, their teams took some video from ringside, starting off with Oleksandr Zakhozhyi, the unbeaten prospect out of Ukraine, who's blown a little bit hot and cold in recent times. He was facing a step-up opponent in Evgenios Lazaridis, the Greek journeyman, or gatekeeper I should say, who is actually notoriously durable, but not on display here. Zakhozhyi coming out early, putting it on Lazaridis. He drops him with a big right hand early on in the first round. So that was in the first, 30 or 40 seconds. And then you have him following up, stalking Lazaridis, looking for the finish, but being patient. And then you have him delivering towards the end of the first round, the final blow. So another big right hand, see here on screen, landing. Lazaridis down. Referee doesn't like what he sees as Lazaridis attempts to beat the count. And it is all over. So Oleksandr Zakhozhyi remains unbeaten. And fair to say that this is a bit of a mini statement. This was a step-up performance from Zakhozhyi, so he is now ready for some of that fringe-level competition. So I hope to see him in another step-up fight in the next few months at least, and hopefully it's a good opponent to really get a yardstick of where he's at, because this was a test and he passed it. So looking forward to seeing where he's at, and he does know Lazaridis, managed by the same management company. They have sparred rounds together, so maybe that inside knowledge helped here. Sometimes it can have the reverse effect, but Zakhozhyi coming forward, showing his power, using that height and reach, full leverage on the right hand, gets Lazaridis out of there. Impressive performance, first round stoppage, and another first round stoppage which we'll get to a little bit later on, which has some slightly strange undertones, inexperience on display. Christian Thun versus Amron sends. But the second fight which we'll cover, just looking at my notes here, so Argon Smikici versus Leroy Thomas. So this was on the Marcos Maidana undercard in the Middle East, and you had Argon Smikici, see here on screen, delivering straight left hand. So the southpaw Argon Smakici, who's been building back from a loss to Zhakozhyi a couple of years ago, gets the best win of his career. So he's coming back from that loss to Kossobutskiy. This was a good performance, stopping Leroy Thomas, who is a decent, I guess sort of like Lazaridis. He's got a certain level. He's somewhere maybe in that sort of top 60 to top 80 range there or thereabouts. It was a little unclear where Smikici's level was, because Kossobutskiy had dealt with him so handily enough a couple of years ago. I think that says more about how good Kossobutskiy is. But Smakici, good win, good performance, and pretty shot here to get Lenroy Thomas out of here. So the third fight which we're covering, and which was from South Africa, you had Lerena stopping Bogan Dino in 4 rounds. So somewhat predictably, Bogdan Dino looking decent, hanging with Lerena to some extent through the fight. But you had Lerena, looking progressively good, landing good shots to the body, which you could tell Bogdan Dino didn't like. And by the 4th round, Bogdan Dino, after he was dropped the first time in that 4th, looked like he wanted a way out. And the second knockdown almost looked like it was in slow motion, looking for a place to lay on the canvas after a left hand lands. Here's a brief clip under fair use, which shows that knockdown. So this was a step up for Lerena into the heavyweight division. He's had one fight, which is over the 200-pound limit before, but he's been rather inactive in the past year or two. Bogdan Dino, a gatekeeper of sorts. He's sort of in that range, top 50 to top 70. He can give you some work, look good for a few rounds, but as soon as it gets tough, sometimes he looks for a way out, and it appeared to me that was the case again here. So if you're good enough, you can get the win over Bogdan Dino. So interesting to see the prospects for Lerena going forward. So the fourth fight, which we're just going to cover off the result, haven't been able to catch this live. This was on the Sky and Boxer card. So the professional debut for Jeamie Shakiva. Jeamie TKV, as he's calling himself professionally. So he was facing Alvaro Terrero, standard 40-36 decision. Terrero is a tough, durable gatekeeper, so no shame in this one going the distance, and probably good to get some rounds early on. So I'm hearing good things about Jeamie Shakiva and his talent level, and potentially how far he can go if he stays dedicated. Very good amateur in the UK scene, so we'll have to see where he goes from here. So I'll be catching up with that full fight in due course, but not surprised to see him notch up that first win. And rounding out this results roundup video, so Amron Sands versus Christian Thun, which was in the United States. You can find this on ProBox Promotions' YouTube channel. This was a very strange ending because first round stoppage here, Christian Thun gets the win, but first half of the round, actually Amron Sands having some success. There are a couple of shots to the body that made Christian Thun a little bit uncomfortable. But Christian Thun hurts Amron Sands, and this is where the final sequence kicks in, and it showed, in my view, a bit of a lack of experience on the part of Amron Sands because he was clearly stunned to begin with. Christian Thun puts it on him, and he doesn't tie up. So what you end up having is a series of punches, unanswered punches, coming in. Sands doesn't look hurt to the point where he can't throw back, but he's just not throwing back. So he gives the referee the chance to jump in. And actually the referee, and you can go see this on my Twitter account for the full stoppage, boxing_squared. So the referee seems to jump in, but then changes his mind. So Christian Thun goes, okay, I'll get back to it. Proceeds to unload several more shots. No response from Sands, just sort of the hands up, taking punishment. He should have tied up, could have tied up, didn't tie up, and the referee jumps in. The referee had no choice. He was not throwing anything back. He took it out of his own hands and put it into the referee's, and he said, okay, that's it. Christian Thun gets the win, so stays unbeaten. The German prospect, 6'8.5". And yeah, he looked pretty good in terms of the finish. I mean, I do have a couple of questions. You know, that body was getting peppered early on and he didn't seem to like it, so we'll have to watch that going forward. But a good weekend of action for some more under-the-radar type fights and fighters. Not necessarily guys who were all in the top 30 or anything like that. Most of these fights were guys who were between sort of top 40 and top 70 in terms of the A side of the equation. Some of these fights did look reasonably matched on paper. Thun and Sand looked reasonably matched. Also, Leroy Thomas and Argon Smakici looked reasonably matched. Both of those ended in the first round. And Oleksandr Zakhozhyi, this was a step-up fight, and he blew Lazaridis away. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.